You are now locked in to the Beyond Hashtag podcast.
BTHPOD.
Cool. Is there any more kind of personal experiences that people would like to share, or should we move more into, let's say, your thoughts about Arsenal in the whole racism in football argument? So, and more of like, let's say, the personal fan. I know you guys are like football fans as well as Arsenal fans, but I wanted to maybe touch on how you feel from if you say you're so you're all Arsenal season ticket holders. So I guess are you representatives of Arsenal in a way, or like Arsenal, that you have that connection with Arsenal? So if you think about the values that Arsenal share towards discrimination and racism in football, like how do you guys associate yourselves with that, or maybe disassociate yourselves with that, and things that they have done, or even if they haven't done things, then that's a story in itself.
Yeah, I understand. It's very similar to what we've just been speaking about with Kick It Out. Arsenal every year do something for the needy, be that the impoverished, and that's in the UK and abroad.
Yeah.
And there is I always see elements of it's based from Kick It Out, but they do enforce that as a club, as an industry themselves. So you mentioned about being representatives. I think all fans, we are season ticket holders, but whether you're a season ticket holder, you attend games, or you just like the club, buy the shirt, I think we're all representatives to a degree.
I agree. We are representatives to a certain extent. I think, as well as if you think about Arsenal Football Club, there's many other organisations that make Arsenal Football Club run. So if we think about the stewards, the catering staff, they work for another company which is employed by Arsenal, but they too are representatives to a certain extent as well. I think we know the stewards on our block really well. They're like, say hello to them, have a catch up, how's the kids, all that stuff. But when the game's on, they're in work. They're always in work mode, but they're in proper work mode, and they do their job and they do it well. Not just because it's the right thing to do, but to protect other fans. So whether that is someone who is a bit drunk, whether that is someone who is, they may not necessarily be shouting racist abuse, but they may be, be using maybe too many expletives, or going too far. So all of that, you have to think about it. It's a community. We just happen to be inside, the Emirates stadium. So how are we protecting each other? And like Dad shared before, some of those times it's like, they want to say, you black da 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 da, but they're not going to, because there are a lot of black fans, black holders at the Emirates, so they're not going to say, they're just going to say you CUNT, and it doesn't make it right. They shouldn't be calling them by any of those names. That everyone's human and they deserve respect, and they're doing a job. Imagine if in your day as a tradesman, or in a corporate office, and you do something wrong and your manager calls you an expletive. It will happen. So I think there's a level of entitlement that fans sometimes hold, which can affect, which comes out in their behaviour, in terms of how they direct their language towards players in particular. Less so I've never seen it between fans at the Arsenal stadium. I think Theo's great, and I don't think Theo. You see those kind of tit for tat, but it's never necessarily, I haven't seen, about race, but towards players, there's definitely expletives. There was a guy a few rows behind us.
Oh my gosh!
I don't want to say what we call it because that's politically correct, but every other word was a swear word.
So that's what I call them. I'll tell you
Because when he first came, we did think maybe he does have Tourette's. It was that strong and intense. And then at halftime, he's talking it's not like it's a switch on off thing, because you know Tourette's is a
it's a medical
Yeah.
but it was a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of fans do flick the switch at games because they think it's okay.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
literally saying that. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like the true person comes out at football, because
Yeah.
they think, oh, there's 60,000 of us, I can be free. I'm pretty
Mob
sure
mentality.
my isn't going to be that heard,
Yeah.
but there's a couple thousand around them, hundreds around them that sit with them week in, week out, and it's like, I hear what you say every single game. I mean, that person goes and tells that person, and eventually a lot of people will then find out, oh, at Emirates there's this one guy, he literally says this and this.
Yeah.
And that's one of the good things that Arsenal do. They've got a system that in place that if an individual you think is using racist or unbecoming behaviour, you can use a telephone line and point out which seat that they're in. So protect you as an individual. But when it's behind you, it's quite difficult to know what seat they're in.
Yeah.
Who said that?
Well, that's actually an interesting point, Paul, because I was going to get onto that in terms of like moving towards a solutions kind of thing about how to deal with certain things, especially from a club and a match going fan point of view. Because there was a couple of things that we raised in previous episodes specifically about fans. One of them was from the club's perspective being more vocal and adamant on a consistent basis towards the issue of racism. Because one thing that we've seen, and it's maybe opinion based for me, is that they'll have a kick it out game or kick it out week or something, and that's just it for the whole kind of season. And you know, everyone wears the shirts, they do whatever presentation songs or whatever. But like, obviously at the moment now they've, let's say, taken it to another level with the knee. So the knee's been taken off at the start of every game. So that's, let's say, the next level up of trying to keep a consistent message of the anti-racism campaign. But like, are the clubs, you know, announcing certain things in every game? You know, if you look at a match day program, is there stuff about anti-racism in every single match day program? Like, do you guys think it's from an Arsenal perspective, let's say, it's that there's more that can be done, or like, are they doing things already that you know, similar to Paul, what you just said about the phone line kind of anti kind of racism thing? That is, where do you guys see that level of where Arsenal are at?
I think it's important, but I don't think it's their priority. And I'd say that across the board, across clubs, across the FA. And you know, there are initiatives like the phone line in place, but because people know there are serious consequences, they can bite their tongue to a certain extent. Is there more the club can do? Yes, but again, it goes back to, if we're shining a light on it, if we're raising more awareness of it, we're opening ourselves up to have to deal with it. Because it's one thing to raise awareness, like we said, but it's another thing to take action. And what does that action look like, and to what extent are those consequences or punishments enforced? And you know, how racist is racist? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, I'm only a little bit racist, or I'm not really racist, but or I'm going to call you the N-word. Like, there's what's the scale? Is there more? I still think clubs should be doing more to raise awareness. You know, as we've talked about, you know, the taking of the knee. What does it really achieve? It's a reminder, great, but what is it achieving? What is it actually achieving? So yes, there's more that clubs can do, and you know, we're focusing on solutions. I think it's promoting the things that they already do, because a lot of them, again, people might not know that the phone line exists at Arsenal. People might not know or remember that they are actually always on camera when they go to the game, like you are being recorded. So, and then you take it a step further. If something happens outside the Emirates, outside the ground, but maybe it happens, you know, outside the Armory store, whose responsibility is it then to initiate a consequence? And this is why I say people fans, players need to go down the criminal route, because it's not enough to say, oh, you're banned, you can't have a season ticket, or you can't come to games. I think was it Ian Wright that got loads of abuse in his DMs, but he blocked out the name so that people wouldn't, go and DM that person. And but at the same time, it's like, we need to be holding these, whether they're 12, 22, 32, whatever their age is, they need to be held accountable
in society.
In society, and to the level of, oh, it's just football banter. And we've seen with the FA and their initiatives that there aren't really any consequences. If John Terry can racially abuse Anton Ferdinand on camera and get away with it, as a fan, you're like, okay, I don't have John Terry money or John Terry connections, but I know that I can get away with it. No one's scared.
Yeah, or you can get a worse fan.
Sorry.
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, go on, Paul. Carry on.
Yeah, there's always something more that can be done. It's the something. What is the something?
What's the thing? Yeah.
And that's the difficulty. I would go as far as saying something along the lines of boycotting. Making a big statement, not just a gesture. However, in doing so, we're, as season ticket holders anyway, and as members, because you have to be a member now to get a ticket, but you have to pay that up front. So you boycott a game, we say we're not going to go to any games this season. Sorry, that's probably the wrong year to say that, but but you know what I mean. I would, if I was to make that sort of gesture, I wouldn't be looking to sell my ticket on, as in give it back to the club, because all they'll do is resell it. So you're not gaining anything. Empty stadium makes an impact. But how many people are willing to have paid their money up front and then not attend the game to make the gesture? Small steps, I think, are needed. But we need to step forward, not backwards and sideways. I've mentioned it in groups before, and the first thing that comes out is, I'm not going to pay my big money to just leave the seat to everybody. But you have to start somewhere, don't you? It's not a racist thing, but I can't remember there was a German club that came to play us in Europe, and they were objecting that they pay something like, I don't know, £10 or £15 to watch their team in Germany, and then to the away game we were charging 45 to 75, 80 pounds. So they objected to that. They were being exploited. So what they did was they said they were going to stay outside of the seated area for the, I think a pound for every minute that they thought they were being exploited.
Overcharged,
like that. And that's what they did. Now I think that made an impact. It did make a really big impact. The club's already got their money, so the club don't care. But the atmosphere was dead before that, and it was televised. So I don't know we were there, so I don't know how they handled it being televised. But I'm pretty sure that when they then entered the seated area and started supporting their team, I think that would have made a big impact on TV, because it made a big impact in the ground.
That happened before. I think it was a Liverpool game.
Liverpool, I was going to say, they walked out.
And the fans didn't come in until, I think that's one I thought you were talking about. They didn't come in about 10 to 15 minutes because they were saying their season ticket price was going up or something. And then when they did come in with a banner, all the Arsenal fans were clapping them, and that was televised. The atmosphere wasn't as dead, because I remember that game, but that was televised and it made a big impact. So again, yeah, it's that it will always come down to personal decisions of fans. So that's the thing. How important is it to them? You know, they have that one black friend, or if they have 5 black friends, how important is it to them? And it shouldn't come down to how many black friends or Asian friends or whatever that I have. It should come down to being a human and respecting someone for something they can't change. It's literally who they are, and not wanting to endure and live in a racist society, because it is it's systemic.
Yeah, and I think that issue of boycotting as well even obviously extends to players, because we saw recently with the PSG Istanbul thing, where like if you show the effect of if you guys come together as a community, and you know, white, black, Asian, you know, Mexican, wherever, like you all come together for that boycott. Like you don't care about the reparations afterwards, but for that moment, you know, you're not standing for something, and you're all walking in one voice. And I think fans have a part to play in that sense, where like they shouldn't, as a community, you know, stand for those kind of things. So if the players can, you know, be a shining light to do that, then I think, you know, fans hold players in such high regards. I think that will send reverberations and start to sort of have a chain reaction thereafter.
The statement goes beyond football, but because football, people like this country definitely see football as something that brings people together. Like we've mentioned before, people are too scared to be the person that stands out to potentially break that togetherness. Just like everyone has their clubs, so like Arsenal, Man United, all that. But then World Cup, everyone comes together. Everyone's like, you're you're this, you're that. And it's like, hold on. But I'm pretty sure last week, when it was the last game of the season, I'm pretty sure I heard you call someone that looks like me. But now that we're England, I'm your brother.
England.
England.
England is coming up.
Yeah, they're telling us to go home. I'm like, I am home.
No, right, 100%. And Raj, one thing you touched on just a second ago was the why. And you know, if you talk about taking the knee and just all even the anti-racism policies, there's not enough of the explaining why things are being done, and why, even if the decision makers are making certain policies, why they're doing them, and you know, explaining and communicating it in a much more effective way, because that's what leads to fans booing the knee because they don't understand why the knee's being taken, or that's what leads to if you give John Terry some kind of punishment for, like, John Terry got his captaincy taken away from him after the Ferdinand incident, but then people went and rather abused Ferdinand and sort of blamed Ferdinand for everything bad that happened to Terry thereafter. But you know, the FA didn't do enough to explain why they're taking away the captaincy from him, so people just saw it as, oh, Ferdinand's done something and now it's affected John Terry in that way. So there's not enough, and maybe it's because they don't care enough to do so they're just like, okay, we'll do something and whatever happens from it happens. But I think, especially from a fan perspective, that why is very crucial, and you need to have the right people to explain what that why is.
And it's societal. Like I run diversity and inclusion training, like workshops. And you know, when I run it with a lot of organisations who are based in the UK, and even speaking to some of my other friends who work in the same field, you know, the murder of George Floyd, it's like, oh, it's over there, it's in America. Like, why? How does it affect? Like, it doesn't affect you. It's over there. And you know, there was all that debate on like, oh, racism is worse in here than it is there. It doesn't matter where it's worse. It's the fact that it even occurs. One of my good friends, she had to take time off work because after the murder of George Floyd, no one at work asked her how she was. She's the only black person, you know, in the team. And she was like, it's as if they're going on as if like this has not happened, like, and it wouldn't have any effect on me because it's in America. And like, it goes back to what I was saying before. It's like, what level, you know, who gets the award for me? It's not like a certificate. Oh, we're the most racist. Oh, we're the least racist. Oh, we're only a little racist. It's, and again, when we go back to football, like Siobhan said, it's a community. It's where everyone comes together, but no one knows why we're together for this particular reason of taking the knee. No one, not everyone gets that. They're just like, can we get on with the game? This is to do with something that happened outside of football. Why do we care about it, you know, in this time and place?
Yeah. And just moving on to just tackling racism, just sort of more of a concluding point. I wanted to try and get you guys' view on one particular solution that you would like to kind of see implemented with regards to eliminating racism more from the stands in football. So just speaking on a personal sort of fan perspective, it could be the stands, or you could take it as far as online. But just for you guys as Black football fans, as Black football Arsenal fans, if you could, put out there one solution, for the listeners to kind of discuss and take into, or just for yourselves, what you'd like to see when you're allowed to go back into stadiums, what you guys would like to see. So I'll go with Shiv, Rosh, and then we'll finish with Paul.
Straight up, even if you don't know who the person is exactly, but like Dad said about Arsenal, you know where their seat is, just be like, this person in this seat said this. I don't care whether they're white, Black, Asian. Arsenal, you need to make sure that people know, like, it's not acceptable. This person's been this, like, name and shame them. So it's not like a thing where, oh, we've dealt with this. No, let everyone know that this is what's been dealt with. And if you do it, you'll be dealt with it in the same way.
And just on that, actually, and I guess you guys wouldn't have experienced it yet, but one thing I'm hoping will come into football is, because of COVID, there's more, obviously, track and trace in terms of fans who are going into stadiums and stuff anyway. So I was hoping that, merging the two together, if you're going to have more tracking of, like, who the specific fans who are coming in are, then there's more scope to be able to actually identify that specific person sort of in their specific seat, because they have to go through a bunch of health protocols to actually get into the stadium in the first place.
Yeah, that could work. I think, like I was saying before, that photo, I wouldn't say we need facial or photo recognition, going into stadiums. I think that's probably taking it a bit far, and the queues are long enough as it is. I think if people don't want to, report them straight away, for example, if people do want to report them straight away to a steward, again, I still go back to it, people being charged, people having to go to court or whatever it may be. And that is a lot harder because, someone goes, oh, that person just said da, 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 and they go, no, I didn't. It starts off, it's really, really long. But I don't think raising awareness is futile. I think, you have the fan associations within that, and together with the club, pulling together and reviewing the policies that already exist and seeing if they are actually fit for purpose. And also, they're not just people within the fans association that go to those kind of like those they used to do those kind of like board meetings and stuff.
AGMs and stuff.
But that should be then distributed to all fans, whether you are a fan, whether you're a member of that association or not, through the club, to say this is what was. I remember those coming out, like you'd get this is what we discussed. And again, like I say, it depends on how much of a priority it's made by the fans, or by those committees and the club. But again, it should be coming through the club. It shouldn't just be coming through the fans association in terms of, these are our policies, this is how to report, these are the consequences, and this is how we're going to track it, and this is how you're going to get updates on it. I know it seems very simple, but I think you have to start simple with some of these things, because
100%.
people aren't getting it as it is now.
No, I concur definitely with that. There are a lot of I think it's fans forums meetings that we can attend, but we just don't know about them. There's someone that sits a few seats away from me that I speak with, and we normally speak at half time and after the game. And he informs me that, at this so-and-so meeting, this was discussed and blah, 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 blah. I think, how do you get in there? And he's been there for years. Obviously, he's I'm not sure how he got in there in the first place. But he's informed when these meetings are, and you're not invited. You have to apply, because there's only a certain amount of seats. You can attend, and you have every. I think most fans have a right to attend.
Yeah.
And you can raise your questions, your concerns, but we just don't know about them.
Yeah.
And as far as the information that comes out of these meetings, they are available for everyone, and it's a technicality that's used by lots of companies. It's out there for public viewing. If you don't know about it, you'll never view it. If you do know about it, some people don't have the facilities to view it, and you know, a lot of the older generation, it's like computers, don't know nothing about them kind of thing. And by law, the clubs, companies that run them have done all that they need to do. And along with a lot of other a lot of other things, they hide behind these. And I come back to the intelligence of people that are running large companies. And let's face it, most of our football clubs now are being run by these individuals, and they protect themselves. So as far as being an individual, I think if you experience racism directly or hear it indirectly, as hard as it is to do, I think you have to stand up to it. I believe that if you hear someone say something or something's directed at you that's racially motivated, I think if you confront that person, I'm not talking about going up face to face, but call them out. I believe that the majority of people that sit around you will support you. In that instance, some will support you that don't want to support you, but want to be seen as supporting you. But it raises, it's just raising awareness again, because there's only so much I think that the clubs are able to do at this moment. Yes, I think they can do more, but it's going back to this. There's something we must be able to do something, but it's what is that something? The stewards can be called, and they are called at times. 4 stewards per entrance?
Two at the top.
2 at the top, 2 at the bottom.
100 people.
There isn't a lot that they can do with that amount of people. So the CCTV that's used at most grounds has to be used in conjunction with the complaint being made, the location of where that complaint is directed, inform a steward, and then I don't think they all have radios now, but block C, seats, rows 5 to 10. The CCTVs can be done retrospectively. But as a girl said, if you say, you said something and I said, no, I didn't, it's very hard to prove.
Strong Terry's shown.
Precisely. Shiv, did you have one more thing? Or
We're showing out some of our policies and stuff, but kind of like going on top of what Dad said, in regards to obviously the forums and then the AGMs, and like I feel like so much of it now is literally figuring out how to eradicate this from bottom up rather than top down. It's like, yes, we can obviously give our opinions and give our suggestions on how it should be done, which obviously is very helpful for the people at the top, but I feel like the people at the top also need to do their own research and filter what they've learned through down to us to make sure that, I feel like I shouldn't say us because we're not down here, like we royal and whatnot, but us, like that, us paying customers that go to the games, etc. There's kind of like a hierarchy. It's like the fans will listen to the footballers will listen to the manager will listen to the person that's at the top. So it's like there's a hierarchy. So if oh God, don't speak about it. But I feel like if it's filtered both ways rather than it just being bottom up, I feel like there would be a lot more cohesion in regards to working out how to eradicate this and come into a common ground rather than it being like a clash, because that's what it feels at the moment.
Yeah, it's about accountability, and like we do that with our D&I training. There'll be training that or workshops that we run for BAME networks, and I hate the term BAME, but what's defined as BAME networks. So workshops will run for them in terms of how do you handle microaggressions, how do you call it out if you are a bystander, how do you manage your manager, all those kinds of things. And then we also run workshops for the senior leaders around how can you be a responsible leader, how can you be an inclusive leader, how do you challenge boardroom banter, where you might have an echo chamber if it's what tends to be what we call the Guinness effect. So you have people of colour, of mixed heritage kind of working in all the tiers, and then as you get up to the top of the Guinness and you go to the board level, it's all majority is white. So how do you not just mix it all up, but you have that accountability at all levels? So I'm holding you accountable as well as myself, and the leaders are holding, middle managers accountable as well as the employees, or non-managerial employees. It, like Shiv said, it does have to go both ways, but it has to be prioritized both ways. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, there's always going to be someone that is, or a group that is serving more or giving more, and it's tackling racism is exhaustive work. It's
to say the least.
We know it's not an overnight thing, but it is so exhausting, repetitive, and it can be quite traumatic as well. I had one person say to me, my lived experience shouldn't have to be a business case. My trauma shouldn't have to be a business case in order for you to, take a stand or to make a difference or to put in place a policy or to hold someone accountable and have consequences for them. Yeah. And it has to go both ways. It has to.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% about it being exhausting. Like, the podcast platform, the last episode was titled "I'm Tired," literally because of everything that happened at the start of December. It's literally like it was like story after story. Like I'm sure we all felt it when the George Floyd thing happened, and it was like this and that, and just every day, like it just seemed like black people were being killed. Like everything we're experiencing on that, and that's just the extreme examples. Like that's not just the everyday examples that we all feel. Where everything culminates in that one kind of extreme case that happens, and then it manifests in us, and then we're made to speak about it and recount it and kind of use it as examples and that kind of thing. And there's a lot, but no, thank you guys for your solutions and for your discussions in general. The points that you raised, I think it was very, very, very hard hitting, and it was good to get that real life kind of experience. Like I'm obviously a football fan myself, but getting you guys is like kind of range of the black women experience, the black man experience, like Paul's element of society, so how things are now in the element of social media and that kind of thing. So it was interesting to kind of hear you guys' thoughts on that on a real level, and I know the listeners will appreciate that also. So very appreciative of you lot's time.
Thanks for having us. It's been a great chat.
Yeah, no, it's really good. One more thing actually, in the spirit of supporting black businesses and just bring each other. Is there anything you guys want to plug for the podcast? Or whilst you're on the podcast?
Well, I'm starting a brand called Forza Fit, and it's all about empowering women and designing activewear for more. It's basically based on myself, like someone that's sportier. Like I feel like that needs high support activewear, and just built with curves in mind.
Oh, that's nice.
Good. So look out for Forza Fit. We'll put the socials and everything in the description. And Rochelle?
I will, because if I don't, Siobhan's probably gonna launch across this table. I will plug my blog and business. So my blog is called Foundations to Flight. It is faith-based and self-development posts, resources, etc. and I run a number of workshops to help people in this self-develop, build their confidence, and also in the D&I space. So they can just DM me if they have any questions on the workshops, whether it's for them personally or for their organisation as well. In the D&I, diversity and inclusion space.
I don't have anything to
Yes. Yes.
Not yet.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Watch this space.
But I will just say that I'm proud of my family, my girls here for doing what they're doing, and my wife also, and to you, Stephen, as well. Sort of, you know, part of the family.
Big up beyond the hashtag.
Thank you. No,
Do it, yay high.
Keep doing what you're doing. We're all proud of you.
Oh dear. No, thank you very much, guys. That's been very, very appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, this is going to be released as the last episode of 2020. What's been a challenging, difficult year, a productive year as well, because this podcast started this year, but it's been a whole concoction of emotions. But yeah, we're hoping obviously 2021 can be positive in a lot more examples in people's sort of everyday lives, and obviously with what we're trying to build for this platform, that we can have the growth that we need to in that sense. So yeah, thank you guys once again for coming on the pod, and yeah, I just wish everyone a very, very happy New Year.
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year.
You've done amazing.
Blessed and highly favoured, prosperous 2021.
Yes,
Yeah.
amen.
Love to see it.
We claim
Beyond
it.
the hashtag 2021 is coming for your next.
We're coming.
Hashtag BTHPOD.